Woohoo! I had this fancy smancy opening, but I guess it's not. Wait, here it is.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Wiz podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to my friend. He's a damn near undefeated fighter, repping Millennia, Team Millennia out in Rancho Cucamonga. He's the one and only Chris Hernandez. Chris, what's going on, my man?
Nothing much, man. Just chilling. Just
So, I
chilling.
mean, how's this kind of year been? Obviously, not the year that anyone intended of having, right? But I mean, how are you guys hanging out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a lot of plans for this year, but obviously everything got kind of halted and put on the back burner. But we've been hanging in there. You know what I mean? The gym's been all right. We're staying afloat, so you know, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, man. That seems to be the name, or at the very least, the theme of the year. It's just weird, man. But obviously, I mean, you're at Millennia, right? That's Betis Monsuri, and the squad there. So I mean, what's the state of the gym right now? Are you guys open?
Right now we're doing just real quick. Actually, Batiste isn't even with us anymore. It's just Romy, Rick, and Manny running things now. So they ended up parting ways, but yeah, they're doing it, man. They're staying afloat. We're able to stay open with like limited numbered classes, and we moved everything outdoors. And so Romy's he's a thinker, man. You know what I mean? He knows how to get it done. So he did what he needed to do to stay open and stay within the guidelines. And yeah, we're still rocking.
Now that's, I mean, and it's cool, right? Or obviously there is a crazy thing that has kind of overtaken the world, and even locally, especially. But then you go like, okay, let's just move things outside, open air. Like we'll figure out a way. So I mean, we've seen it in the litany of experiences, here in California. Like Timo Yama's that way out in Orange County. They've
Yeah,
got Alex Perez fighting for the title actually
yeah,
this
coming up
this
soon.
Saturday, right? So, how's that been? I mean, obviously there was a point where I mean everything was just shut down completely, right?
Yeah, yeah. There was a good while that we weren't open at all, and we literally just to keep us busy, we turned over all the mats, cleaned up everything. We scrubbed that place, ceiling to roof or roof to or ground to floor. Or, you know what I'm trying to say. And but yeah, then he was able to get everything outdoors and get everything going. So we were able to open back up, and we've been having a lot of signups, so people are ready. People are ready to start training. You know what I mean? So it's been good so far. So far, so or yeah, so far so good.
Now, I mean, obviously, well, we're gonna put it to Dave Dankin because David says, "Hey, is Hernandez going pros, or are you still trying to get that elusive California State title?"
I mean, whichever comes first, man. Like I want that belt. Obviously, I want that belt. But if California can't open up and we can't get it done, then I like what I mean. The show must go on. So I might be going pro soon if we can't get it done. But I was actually hoping somebody was gonna say something because if we can't get something going in California, I know Johnny Ferris is probably in the same position I am. He's probably getting close to going pro too. So we should probably set up me and him for our first pro fight. Why not? Right? We were supposed to fight. So and like I said, I don't have nothing personal against the kid. He's cool. I've seen him fight before, and he thinks he could beat me. I think I could beat him. We're already scheduled to fight, and then all this kind of got in the way. So let's say get that going for our first pro fight, and we'll see what's up.
Why not? I mean, we saw it happen actually. late last year with another Christopher Cruz of Black House. He wanted to turn pro, couldn't get a fight, and then that carrot got dangled of the California
Yeah,
state title, the most prestigious title in all California MMA, and he came back and he won it.
yeah. I don't blame him. I probably would have done the same thing if I couldn't find a fight. So that's kind of where we're at now. If I can't get a pro fight before the California strap's on the line, then I'm still down to do that. But if I get something pro going on first, then I got to take it.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So Dave Dankin says, first show we have, you are there, 100%. So there you go. And Dave Dankin is a man of his word,
Yeah,
so if he says it, it must be true, And he said, give me a couple months, I'm working on something right now. So again, Dave Dankin, I mean, obviously his father Marty, his sister Jackie, in terms of California, combat sports, I mean, we all not kind of, we all have them to thank for it because, the reason why we have a commission that we do and everything is because of the efforts of Marty and then later David and Jackie. So shout out to them, right?
yeah, for sure. He's definitely. I mean, we've helped each other out a lot, in these last couple amateur fights and amateur shows. But he's definitely taking care of me and my team. So yeah. Nothing but respect for Dave. He's the man.
Absolutely brilliant. But now, I mean, one last question about like the pandemic, and then we could definitely move off. But obviously, when you're training for a fight, I mean, you were convalescing an injury, that kind of took you out of the game, right? But I mean, there's days where going to the gym, it seems long, like I, I I think I just saw like Joe Rogan's podcast with Dave Chappelle and Donnell Rawlings, and they were talking about Dave
Yeah.
Goggins, and he was just like, "Yeah, Dave Goggins, his feet look like caveman feet, and it's gnarly, but he's like." The crazy marathons that he runs and everything. He's like, he has days like it.
Oh yeah.
He's like, well, there are days where I fucking stare at those motherfuckers in my shoes for 30 minutes before I fucking go run and get at it. So, like, obviously, there are times that you're like, oh, fuck, I got to go to the gym and whatever, right? But then, when it gets unceremoniously taken away from you, like, we all kind of had it happen. Um, the distance makes the heart grow fonder, right? So in terms of that first day back, right? Even though it was a little bit different, right? Having to be outside versus the last time you were in pre-COVID, you were inside. But what did it feel like to be back?
Oh man, it was just like you take it for granted, you know what I mean, until it's taken away, and then you don't realize how much how grateful you are, just even little things. But yeah, just getting back in the gym and just that little piece of normal, like how it used to be, was just it was amazing. And and like you said, the distance kind of made everybody a little hungrier. So the room was just, everybody was ready to get back to it. You know what I mean? You could feel it. So it was good. It was good. It was really good.
That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And Dave Jenkins says, "Thank you," and you guys are both camo family. So thank you. I literally have like I mean, Brooke Mayo's California state title, Froggy Estrada's signed camo glove, and a patch from one Dave Denkin, which I feel like I kind of earned. I mean, there might be the Ariel Hawanis and
Yeah,
other media, but like I was raised. I might be the first like media person that started with camo. Started my career with camo, and then just kind of went from there.
yeah, yeah.
So
I'm
let's ain't nothing better. Ain't nothing better, right? So let's spin it way back. Like Blackstreet says, like way back into town. All right. So how does a young Christopher Hernandez get involved with combat sports?
Honestly, it was just me and my pops. It was really my pops. You know what I mean? We started with season one of the Ultimate Fighter, and that was back when I was in 8th grade. And I remember it was on Thursday nights, and I always had a lot of history homework Thursday nights. So he would come home from work, and he'd help me get through it all, so we could watch it together. You know what I mean? And that was the very first. Like after that, me and my brother would start wrestling and little stuff like that. You know, and I kind of grew, we never, you know, me and my brother never hit each other, but we would grapple. You know, so that's where my kind of I kind of fell in love with grappling through that because I'd see things on TV and then I would try it and I could kind of get it, you know what I mean? So it was cool. And then it was just something I watched and kind of, you know, hit mitts with friends here and there. But once I graduated high school and I started like trying to decide what I wanted to do, that was one of the things that I thought maybe I could give a shot. And then for Christmas one year, my parents bought me a little 3-month membership to Millennia, and yeah, to this day, that's the best gift that I've ever gotten because you know, I'm still there. That was back in 2011, and you know, I've had my little sprints where I'm in and out of the gym, or you know, I get hurt and I take some time off, or girlfriends or whatever. But since I started taking it serious, you know what I mean? They started taking me serious, and it's been great, you know what I mean? So I couldn't have asked for anything. I couldn't have asked for anything more. My parents have always been behind me with everything, you know what I mean? So it was it was just kind of, yeah, I just kind of took a leap with it, you know what I mean? And it was just a passion that I fell in love with right away. So then we just ran with it. So we're still going.
Now, I mean, obviously, I mean that it's kind of crazy to see what that first season of the Ultimate Fighter meant for not just as I mean, not even I would say aspiring fighters, but like pre Ultimate Fighter, most people didn't even know that you could be a fighter besides boxing or Muay Thai, right? And Muay
Yeah.
Thai, you weren't really getting paid, right? It
Mhm.
it blew everything out of the water. That was Dana White and Zuffa is like all in. Like they put all their ducks in a row, all their chips down on and bet on black. And I mean, it ended up paying Pater, you know.
Yeah.
So um, it's coming back, right? The new season is coming back. So I know in terms of like goals and everything, the California state title, that that would be the nice piece de resistance that would cap off a stellar amateur career and possibly lead you pro. But I know people talk about titles like the UFC titles and what have you, but considering the fact that you essentially were kind of heavily influenced by the Ultimate Fighter, would that be something once you turn pro that you'd be interested in doing in terms of going into the house and getting your call into the UFC that way?
If I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't say no if my coaches thought it made sense, but it's not something that I would push for. I'm not really the like reality TV and I just doesn't seem appealing to me. I don't know if I would enjoy it. So I'd rather you know, make noise outside of all of that. But you know, like I said, if my coaches thought it makes sense for my career, then you know, they've been in the game way longer than I have. So if they think it makes sense, then I would trust them and I would do it. But I'm not I'm not pushing for it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's cool to. I always like to say, you shoot for the moon, even if you land short, you land amongst the stars. So,
Yeah,
you're making that big lofty goal. That's that. You'll probably do more trying to get that goal, right, than you would if you did a baby goal, hit that, and then still kind of figure out like, oh, once that's there, what is there to do? Had Albert Morales, right, former
yeah,
UFC, competitor and current lights out bantamweight champion, and he said, what he made that goal like just to get to the UFC. He saw it one day. He wanted to get to the UFC. So once he got to the UFC, like there was a sense of accomplishment. Like he would talk directly about right after his RFA fight, right? Dana White's looking for a fight when that happened, and he kind of just sat there at the OC hangar, laid in the grass and was like, "Oh, I did it," right? But then you
yeah,
kind of peak, and he admittedly said that opportunity, it kind of fell away from him because he peaked, because he made just that one goal versus like, oh, I'm going to be a UFC champion, or I'm going to be on the Ultimate Fighter, like those things, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, big time. The way that I like to kind of look at it is, I can't remember what season of The Ultimate Fighter it was or who exactly said it, but it really stuck in my brain. He said, getting to the UFC is not like making it. You made the team, but now you need to become a starter. And then once you're a starter, you need to become an MVP. And then once you're the MVP, then so like there's stages to it. So yeah, getting to the UFC is definitely going to be a goal of mine because that's one of the biggest shows in the world, and you get the best competitors there. But that's not making it. If I make it there, then I got to bust even harder and try and become the top 10, and then top 5, and then you know take on the champ for the strap, whoever it may be at the time, which which I think if I put in the time and I put in the work, I think it's within my abilities big time. But you get out of this game what you put into it. So I'm becoming very aware of all this, and now that the pro circuit's right around the corner, so so it's definitely on my mind. But yeah, getting there is not the goal. You know what I mean? Being one of the best in the world is the goal. So that's just one of the steps to get to my ultimate goal.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And again, those goals, they aren't just related to MMA, and I think a lot of the parables, in combat sports, whether it be MMA and jiu-jitsu and what have you, these are things that you can take into other facets of your life and, become a winner once you apply the same strategies that your coach is teaching you and what have you, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, big time. I've come to learn that discipline is a big thing, whether it be martial arts or just in your everyday life. But mastering discipline is something that will help you succeed in everything. So it's something that I'm kind of actively working on, but I will admit that it is hard and I struggle with that very consistently. But it's something that's definitely always in the back of my mind to keep kind of working on. And as long as as long as you're trying to improve yourself, you know what I mean. You're always headed in the right direction. So we're doing it.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned motivation, because Dave Denkin wants to know, is Hernandez willing to fight an Ami in Mexico? Well, I mean, if there's a title, right? Theoretically speaking, would it be the Mexicali title, or some surf and turf? I don't know. There's a horrible joke that I'm not going to make. So, but would you be willing to fight in Mexico?
I don't know because there's not much money in amateurs. So if we're traveling, it's gonna be something I can't sell tickets in Mexico. So if it's worth it, you know what I mean, then maybe. But I'm a big fan of the blood work and all that legitimacy. So as long as it's legit and it makes sense for me, then I mean I'm down. I've been over a year without a fight now, so I'm not completely desperate, but I'm trying to get in there and get back to it. So if it makes sense, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, I love it, because I mean that's the Bushido way, right? That's the way of the fighter. Like, just anywhere, anytime. As long as I'm in ample shape and what have you, rest and recuperated, then why the hell not? And Dave Dakin says it could possibly happen in another state, maybe tough enough in Vegas.
Yeah,
Never
man.
know.
Yeah, let's do it. Vegas is close by. I can sell some tickets from Vegas.
Yeah, man. So in terms of finding the gym, right? You're obviously there, Team Millennia, and I mean, you're training with who's, right? I mean, if you go down the roster of like your teammates, amateur and pro, you're gonna get like the far reaches of like every promotion in the world, and it's happening right there in Rancho. So, um, how did you end up at that gym?
Honestly, it was just good luck. My dad used to train with Batiste and William Shriepai back at Cardio Fit and right here up at Bob Cheney's in Upland. And so he kind of knew them already. So once I kind of started showing interest in MMA, he tracked down where Batiste was training, and then he took me to that gym, which was Millennia, and then yeah, I realized pretty quick that I pretty much have everything I need there. Especially now that because back then when I first started, District 7 and Rick McCorkle, they weren't in the gym; they had their own separate gym, so it was like a separate membership and all that. But now that it's all in one house, I really have everything I need, and yeah, like you said, my training partners, it's a who's who of guys that are always giving good work, and a lot of guys come from other gyms. So we have I'm very lucky to be where I am. You know what I mean? Luckily, I didn't have to bounce around to find a good gym. I first one my dad pointed me in the direction of was the right one. So I'm grateful.
So, I mean, with your first day there, right? Obviously, I mean, were you nervous at all? Like, seeing what was going to happen, or did you already have it in your mind? Like, hey, I saw what I saw on Ultimate Fighter, and this is the place to kind of hone my craft. Like, it, I mean, what was that day like? Were there nerves, or were you just like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm doing?
Yeah, it's funny. There was a little bit of nerves, but because I was able to kind of see things on TV and apply it on my brother who has no training. I was telling my dad, I was kind of cocky. I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna jump in jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna run through those belts. I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna be the fastest black belt." And I jumped on the mat and I got humbled, big time. And especially at the time, I was a pretty small dude. I was like 125 or something like that. And a lot of guys are bigger than 125. So yeah, I got humbled, but it wasn't anything that discouraged me away. You know what I mean? So I just realized it was gonna be a lot harder path than I had initially anticipated. But um, after that, yeah. I mean, initially there wasn't too many nerves. I was more anxious to get in there because I thought I was gonna be, this badass. But yeah, I got humbled. I got humbled for sure. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was cool. I was nervous a little bit, but yeah.
Now, in terms of like who was there, like your first day, like do you remember anybody in particular? Who were you? Did you take a beginner's class, or what was the process?
No, back then there was no beginners classes. Like now we have good beginner system, and then an intermediate system, and then an advanced system. Back then there was no beginner system, so I just had to jump in and just hope I could swim. But yeah, I remember Georgi Karakahanian, Bellator 155er. He was my very first jiu-jitsu coach. He coached the 9 a.m. jiu-jitsu at Millennia, and then he also taught the 7 a.m. Muay Thai class that I went to. So I remember he was a big influence on my very beginning. He kind of and he was in Bellator at the time too. So he's been a vet of the game for you know who knows how long. I got him looking after me. I got good guys looking after me. But yeah, I remember Georgie. George was one of the first guys that kind of took me under his wing over there.
Now, who was there that first day? Like, in terms of like who were you getting your rounds in with? Like that, kind of that first couple weeks, months, and years.
What? I'm really, really bad with names, but like I'd say probably about 99% of the guys that were there when I first started aren't there anymore. You know what I mean? Like anybody that trains at a gym or an MMA gym know that guys they come and go like the wind. You know what I mean? So a lot of the guys back then, there was maybe like one. This guy Corvon still trains there. He still gives me tough work, but he was there in the beginning, and then and there was this other dude. His name was Chris as well. He was a jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, he used to roll a lot, and he could do something that too. And then maybe a handful of other guys, but for the most part, everybody kind of fell off.
Damn, whew, that's that's some fun stuff, man. That's so I gotta ask, right? So obviously you've got the goal in mind, right? Like I'm gonna be a mixed martial artist, right? So how long was it between your first, training session and when you entered the gym to your first fight?
Um, I kind of took my time because when I first started, I didn't have any experience at all. I just kind of had. had hit missed a little bit with my dad, and then so I wanted to take like a full year of Muay Thai and a full year of Jiu-Jitsu before I thought about fighting. And then kind of halfway through that, I got a motorcycle and a girlfriend, and then I got in an accident, so I had to take time away from the gym because I broke my leg, so I had to take quite a bit of time off. And then the whole time she was trying to get me to not go back to the gym, so then it was kind of I was kind of in and out here and there, so I wasn't consistent. But once I started taking it seriously, it was probably like 2 years of consistent training before I had my first fight.
Damn. Whew. Now, I mean, in that time in between, right? I mean, what did you learn about yourself? Because obviously, you're breaking through barriers. Obviously, we talked about David Goggins early on the show, but you know, it's to do. I mean, it's one thing to say I want to do this, right? And especially in terms of like physical exertion, and I mean, literally getting punched in the face or turned into a pretzel unceremoniously, right? So, um, what did you learn about yourself? In the time in between, like stepping into the gym and then training for your fight, your first fight.
Um, I mean, you learn a lot about yourself, like you have to like dig down, especially like cutting weight. I've always been anybody that knows me or has seen my fights, I've always been like on the skinnier side or like I've always been really skinny. And so everybody's always like, get that kid a sandwich, and then now that I'm fighting, I fight at the lower weight classes. Everybody's like, no, no, now watch your calories and you gotta cut weight and you gotta stop drinking water and you know what I mean? So it's like that's kind of the worst part of it all, but like just learning how to, like I said before, discipline and being able to kind of stick to the goal and you learn about yourself because like you learn whether you have it. You know what I mean? You got to dig deep for this kind of thing, and then being able to have the balls to step in the cage and come through with it. So I learned a lot about myself, but facing fears is just it's part of life.
So how did that first one go down?
My first fight didn't go good. I went in and I didn't have that much striking experience. I was more just a jiu-jitsu guy, and I went against some little Muay Thai kid, and we went in and we were kind of feeling each other out, and then he threw a combo and I tried to throw one at the same time, and I left my hands down, and then he caught me with a nice little right hook and put me on my butt, and then I stood up. I stood up real quick, and then I remember he shot in for a double leg, and I was able to wrap up a guillotine, and I was able to sub him. So I mean, I got dropped, I got cracked, and I didn't hit him at all, but I still came out with the win. And then after that, I was just hungry. I was like, no, I got to get a fight where I look good, where I got to, I want to fuck somebody up, And then it took a couple for me to get my rhythm going, and then I got a couple good TKOs and KOs, and now I realize how my body frame works in my benefit. You know what I mean? At the time, I didn't really. It was just scrapping, but so now we're fine tuning and you know be ready.
Now, in terms of going back, right, after having that first one, under your belt, so to speak, right? So going back into essentially the lab, right, the gym, was there anything that you're like, man, okay, so now I know how it is, right? I know how this is going to
Yeah.
be, but I need to improve on this. Like, what was that?
Initially, it was my hands. I didn't have good striking, and I didn't use my range the way I should have. But you know, being it being it now like 6 years, 7 years, I realized that it's just everything. You know what I mean? You're never done learning any of it. You know what I mean? So it's just now I'm just trying to be as well rounded as possible, and just try and get everything going good. But in the beginning, right off the bat, I was like, man, I need to get my hands better because yeah, getting dropped isn't fun, especially in front of all your family and your friends and all that. So I was like, man, I need to work my hands a little.
So when did you obviously, because and I ask this because it doesn't just relate to combat sports and your pursuit of it, but anything, right? Where like I've got this goal in my head, like I want to improve on my hands, right? So what was the moment that you realized, like, okay, I've been training it. I think I've got it down. Like, was there kind of a like was there a punch combo that you nailed in the gym? Was there like a rhythm? Like, when did you feel like, damn, like, okay, I know I'm not the greatest, but I'm definitely a hell of a lot better than when I walked into this gym.
It was probably when I stopped leaving practice with headaches. Hmm. But no, it was just like slowly over time, like you said, you'll land like a nice clean combo that you intended to land, and then you're like, oh, okay, that was cool, So slowly over time, I just saw little improvements, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'm making the right moves, you know what I mean? I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Now, obviously, I mean, damn near 10 fights under your career this far, right? So, are there any that stand out to you, and why?
Um, Obviously my loss, because I'm 9-1, so I have that loss, and it was kind of controversial, but you know what I mean. I'll give him his respects. You know what I mean. He put me in bad positions, and I didn't fight out of them the way I should have. And he did what he needed to do to get the ref to stop it. So hats off to him. But I think I could beat the kid, and I would love to get that one back. So that one obviously stands out to me. And then I mean, other than that, you know, I just I just I just like getting finishes. So I have one decision on my record. But the dude was tough. Uh, God, I can't remember his name. Joseph Dorado. He's a tough cat, and I've seen him fight a couple times since I fought him, and yeah, he's got no quit in him. So understandably, me and him went the distance, but yeah, just those two. I like getting finishes, so I didn't finish him, so that one kind of sticks out to me. And then obviously my loss, I'd like to get back, but if we're meant to fight again, it'll happen. It'll happen at some point.
And that's one of those things where a loss isn't necessarily a loss, because you know it almost drives you into insanity, right? Like the things that you could have done better, right? Things, and even if it's like, in a game of inches, right? Sometimes even millimeters, right? Micrometers, right? If you would have pivoted one way, or if you would have transitioned that way, or whatever, it means, I mean, in more so this sport than anything else that I could think of in life, that, I mean, it's like so minute, like such, right? So in terms of like the way that it drove you, right? Like to like almost an obsession, right? So what was the thing that you went and did to kind of like make sure and ensure that particular thing never happened again?
I That's when I first started working with Rick McCorkle, the strength and conditioning coach out of Millennia. Because there was a couple positions that the guy put me in that I definitely felt weaker than him. You know what I mean? I felt outpowered or overpowered. So that was a big thing. Is I didn't like feeling that. So I hired a strength and conditioning coach to help me, put on a little bit of muscle and turn things around in that sense. And then I took my diet way more serious because I realized, I cut weight very, very childish for that fight, and the meals I ate after dehydrating myself were very childish, and so I think that has a lot to do with my performance. But like I said, not trying to cut anything off his win. He did what he needed to do, but like you said, the loss taught me a lot. So moving forward, I made sure that I did everything that I needed to do in that sense, as far as my preparation for my physical leading up to, and then my diet. I made sure that I did what I needed to do to feel the best way that I could on fight night, and so far everything's come out with a win. So I feel like I made the adjustments that I needed to, but now, like I said, it's pro time, so more adjustments need to be made, and more tweaking and fine tuning, but you know we're getting it. So you know, just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Now, obviously, I mean, we can't mention anything with you, Millennia, or your team there without talking about the man with the plan, your head coach, Betis, right? Mansouri. So, I mean, what has he meant to you, not just as a fighter, but as a person?
He's actually not with the gym anymore. Uh, him and Romy parted ways, so now it's just Romy and Rick. Um, him and Romy just they just didn't see eye to eye on some things, and they just parted ways. So I mean, before that, he was a good influence. You know what I mean? I could tell he wanted what was best for me, and he was the one getting me fights in my early amateur career. So I have nothing against Batista at all. He has helped me out a lot leading up to where I am now. So uh, you know, uh, I pay him his respects. But yeah, from probably my last 4 or 5 fights. Lorenz Larkin and Romy Aram have been and Rick and those three have been the ones really looking out for me and taking care of me and they I literally could not be here without them. So my hat goes off to them all the time and yeah, like I said, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for where I am.
That's absolutely beautiful. That's and again, uh, what most people take it for granted when they see fights on TV or what have you. But literally, like the person that you have as your coach, they are literally like the captain of the ship. You're the ship, they're the captain, right? And the implication of a game plan or lack of implementation of a game plan could be the difference of like you smooth sail ahead or hitting an iceberg and sinking like the Titanic, so it's crucial.
Oh yeah, big time, and especially like being calm in the corner. When my coaches are calm, I'm calm. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they're calm because they have that confidence. They know that I'm gonna go out there and do what I need to do to get the win. But when they're nervous, then it makes me nervous. I'm like, why are you nervous? Like, what's going on? Like that? What do you see that I don't see? But yeah, definitely they're very very detail oriented in the corner, so their message gets across very clearly and easy to understand, and they're very calm. So yeah, like you said, it's nice having them behind the wheel. You know what I mean? So yeah, I have. I'm lucky. I'm lucky.
Now, obviously, I mean, Betis is a big, big part. I mean, like, he's the reason why Team Millennia exists, in its current state and have won the accolades, whether that be titles. I mean, an Ultimate Fighter season winner, right? It's one of your teammates in Tiana Suarez, right? So,
Mm.
in terms of like the team, right? Because obviously we had a year where everybody was just like kind of at each other, whether it be social media or phone calls. Do you believe that way? Blah blah blah, whatever, whatever. But in terms of you being able to be with a team and work towards one goal, like how good was? I mean, how good does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. Because they're bonds and friendships that, like I said, develop slowly over time, but they're bonds that are different than any other bond because we literally beat the crap out of each other. You know what I mean? So we really know what each of us are kind of made of. So it's just a different connection. So to have everybody rooting for you and you're rooting for them when it's their time and they'll help you out, and you know what I mean. I have teammates every week, when I have fights coming up, like, hey, let me know if you need extra work. I can come on this today. Just let me know, and so yeah, it feels amazing. You know what I mean? You're in there by yourself, but you definitely have a team behind you. And you definitely have people that help you get there and help you perform and prepare the way you do. So yeah, I couldn't be more grateful for my team. I love every one of them.
Now, I want to do something kind of bold because we were talking about goals before, right? So,
Mhm.
in terms of like what 2021 is going to look like for one Christopher Hernandez as it relates to you. right? If you can plot kind of a perfect chart for your career and life, what would happen by this time next year?
By this time next year, I want to have an active 2021 because I was very inactive 2020. So I'm hoping for at least 4 fights next year. So hopefully we can get that done. Um, so hopefully by this time next year, we're looking at a 4-0 professional record, and just looking up from there. You know what I mean? So as long as I keep winning and I keep that zero in the lose column, you know, um, it's just a matter of time, and I think that's definitely within my ability. So like I said, you get out of it what you put into it. So I had a long time off. I had a long little vacation, just like everybody else did. You know what I mean? It may not have been a vacation for everybody, obviously, but time off work, time off of training. You know what I mean? Let my body heal up and let some little lingering things heal up, so 2021 is time to get it. So hopefully I don't have to fight too close to Thanksgiving because I don't like cutting way through Thanksgiving because that sucks. But hopefully by this time next year we're looking at a at least 4-0 record.
I love it. I love it. Now, obviously, you've got a championship level mindset, and it's something that has served you quite well in your young life. So, you're a tenured. I mean, I say young life, but like you've seen battles. Like nobody, you're a damn tenured young veteran in the sense that I mean, you're damn near 10 fights into your career. So it's amazing. But again, it's a champion mindset. It literally exudes from you. So obviously there's been a lot of people that have helped you with whether it be your mindset or just personally, professionally, or what have you. So let's get some shout outs out of the way, my man.
Yeah, first and foremost is my pops. My dad has been my coach. You know, I started out playing soccer when I was really young, and I think maybe when I was like 8, my dad my dad coached my team, and then from then on he was involved every step of the way. Whether it be I did club teams, so obviously he wasn't the coach of that, but he was the manager of the team. You know what I mean? And when we'd play indoor, he was the coach, he was the manager. When I first started MMA, he was the one that led me to the gym. Him and my mom have always been there from day one. But as far as my mindset, my dad has always been very good at kind of teaching me how to look at sports in that way. You know what I mean? Like you can't let them break you, and you got to stay strong and keep that poker face. And then once I got to the gym, then and obviously all the guys over there helped develop that, and Romy and Rick have been very essential in that. And I look to them for advice a lot too for a lot of things. I talk to Rick and Romy quite a bit, as well as my dad. But yeah, probably those three have been the most influential to kind of how I look at everything.
Absolutely love it, my man. But
And hold on,
obviously,
before
oh yeah,
no disrespect to my mom, because I know she's gonna I know she's gonna tell me something. I shout her out. So mom, I love you. You know what I mean. She's always been 100% supportive. She's the loudest one at all my fights. But as far as just what I mean, sports go, and the way I look at all that, my dad has always been my coach. So he's been the one on the field, kind of telling me about humility and about all that stuff. So just real quick, I gotta shout my mom out. I love you, mom. But uh, you know about the topic on hand, a lot had to do with my pops.
that's a pretty solid damn day one. So shout out to
Yeah.
moms. Now, obviously, I mean, to see, for those who haven't already done so, to follow your journey to the top, to ride with you, right? To get on the train. That's yeah. I mean, leaving the damn station, right? One of the hottest young prospects around. Where can they find you on social media, my man?
I only have Instagram. I'm not a huge social media guy. But my Instagram is the churro 145 at or yeah, the Instagram. Sorry, I don't know. I'm about to give you my email. Yeah, the churro 145. That's where you can find me on Instagram. So yeah, check in and watch my journey because, like I said, we're making big moves soon. So I haven't had much to post lately, but yeah, we're making big moves. So just stay tuned and you guys will be able to follow me.
I love it, my man. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time. I've been meaning to do this. It's been a while since we've seen each other, so it's cool to
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
check in, know that you're you're good. Like the injuries rehab, and you're getting ready to do some damage. So I can't wait to see it. Apparently, Dave Jenkins says you and I will both be there. So hell yeah, let's get this shit going. But dude, thank you so much for joining us here at According to Woods. He is Christopher Hernandez. I'm According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, we warmly encourage you to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe According to Woods on both YouTube and Facebook, right? Chris, you've done it, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, go
Damn right.
subscribe. Go subscribe. That's how you get the notifications for these shows.
Damn right. And I thank you for that, sir. But I mean, if you guys don't take our word for it, here's professional wrestler Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According to Woods YouTube.